Namaste and welcome Scorpio to your tarot card reading for this new moon phase. It's going to be a new moon in Sagittarius. That is a lot of fire energy for a water sign, especially a water sign like you that is fixed, right? That is amazing because like you're speaking your mind. I just had a beautiful Libra reading about speaking from the heart. And for you as a Scorpio, you can speak from the heart quite bluntly, which is gonna, well, I don't know, it's gonna earn you some credit on one hand, and maybe some other people are gonna shy away from you on the other, but that's cool for you. That's exactly what you want, actually. You want people around you that are capable of, like, talking about their emotions without being afraid of them. And that's what you're gonna get once you embrace that Sagittarius energy. That being said, it is a general reading, so if the message doesn't resonate with you, feel free to drop the message. If it does resonate with you, drop a comment, like, and subscribe. Now let's see how this is coming into manifestation for you, Scorpio. We're going to do the DNA spread, the soul integrating itself into reality. Now let's see. In the spot of the 0, that's your soul spot, there is the 5 of discs. That is worry, but there are no bad cards in the tarot, and especially in the soul spot, because that is your soul deciding it's time to embrace that energy. So that's a good thing. That means the 5 of discs is not talking about worry so much as it is talking about a change in your physical reality. That often comes with a little worry because, you know, things are changing and the ego's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, the leaves are falling, what is happening? Yeah, well, that's just nature, I guess. And for you, I get the strong sense that you are kind of initiating that change because your soul decided it's time for it, So you are an agent of that change here. You are kind of embracing that. Now let's see if you're going with the flow and really like loving the process. In the spot of the 9, that is your topic, your like spiritual enema in a sense, which is like everywhere in this reading. That's the central point of your reading, and that's the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is satiety. That is very beautiful because it means you got everything you want. It is in reverse, but I do read reversals in the Thoth Tarot a little with like a twinkle in the eye because it's not supposed to be read as reversals. I do it anyway. Here it is, the 10 of Cups in reverse, where you're like, it feels like you're ready to give up some cups for the greater good, but it's all about you finding true happiness and not settling for anything less than the 10 of Cups, right? So that is a good thing. That is being very convicted to what you want to achieve here, which is, like I said, emotional maturity, right? So the full-blown emotional maturity here with the 10 of Cups. So for yourself and as a like condition for the people around you, I guess, right? You're exploring, and then learning by doing and see what fits. Now let's see what fits in the spot of the 10. That is your manifestation, how you are experiencing this shift right here. It's a 4 of discs in reverse. The 4 of discs talks about power, right? And control, structure, resources, all that stuff. So it's in reverse. So you're dealing with your sense of structure and your sense of power. I got a strong sense of power for you. You're kind of powering through where you're like, okay, that Sagittarius energy really gives you the strength to push through that 5 of discs, that shift in the 5 of discs. You're coming out of the 4 of discs, which is also basically talking about a level up, right? So you're coming out of a situation that felt a little too comfortable for you, and your soul decided it's time to mix it up, right? So this could be exactly it, where you're in a situation where you're like, um, this looks good on paper, but actually I feel like the safer it is, or the safer it feels, the less I'm actually in control, right? So you kind of having the paradox of safety or security and freedom, right? So you're actively thinking about investing some resources to make a change, right? Or to give up a little control to go more with the flow and see where it leads you, stuff like that. So you're letting go of that control a little and using your power in a different way, right? Believing in your power that you can manage with changing circumstances. It's very beautiful. Now let's see how this actually plays out. In the spot of the one here, that is the impulse that is getting you going internally, and that's the Ace of Discs. You see the full potential of manifestation, right? The shoulda, woulda, coulda, and the belief that is actually achievable, right? Where you're like, yeah, but is it an Ace of Pentacles? Does it have potential here, right? And if it doesn't feel like it has potential, it has to, well, change, right? It has to be um, yeah, adjusted in a sense, and you're willing to give up what you've built for a greater potential, right? For like thinking bigger now. You dare to think bigger now. That is a beautiful thing, really. Now let's see how this impulse of the Ace of Discs is coming into balance on the other hand, how this is received with an Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is insight and clarity, right? So you really have clarity about what is wrong here, or not exactly wrong, right? It's like you see there's so much more potential on the table, and it hits you like a lightning bolt, where you're like, yeah, fuck. Actually, this could be so much more. Let's strive for more, right? Let's get out and party and see where it takes us. Maybe we meet some cool people, maybe we get into some interesting situations, whatever. But just and if it's tied to a project, which it very much kind of seems, because it's all pentacles for you, right? On the top and the bottom, it's all pentacles. What gets you going is an Ace of Discs, Ace of Pentacles. So it's very much about your your reality, your life, your resources, your job, your status, all that stuff. So you're basically sitting on that pentacle here, on the Ace of Discs, or on those towers uh, in your castle right here, and be like, yeah, that's nice, but is that it, right? Maybe for some, and that's a message I don't like to give, but it is in the cards. It could also be that that your castle is being attacked, right? So that your stability, your security is put into question, is attacked, like your resources are getting scarce, and you have to move, and you are actually moving through worry into a new direction. But with an ace of discs and an Ace of Swords in your internal world, that is like flipping a switch where you realize what it's good for and what the potential is. You have two aces right next to each other, an Ace of Discs and an Ace of Swords, both about the physical, basically. Because, well, the mind energy, the swords, is kind of the duality in the physical with the material. What, right? Is like, okay, it's getting really nerdy, but it is what it is. The mind is essentially a masculine penetrating force, and earth is essentially a feminine receptive force, right? And that's the duality of fire and water playing out in the physical realm. So that's as nerdy as I'm going to get, but you have both of those forces balancing each other out in the top half of your reading. So that worry, that Five of Discs, it is really nothing to worry about for you, because it's really opening you up to the full potential of what there is to achieve in this world, with two aces that are both talking about evolution of the mind for an evolution of your reality, of your physical reality. So that's amazing, right? So whatever it is you're giving up, you kind of like giving it up because it's time. You not just feel it, you know it. You know that there's much more on the table. Now let's see what you're gaining from this in the spot of the 3. That is an insight from those two aces balancing out. That's the Empress in reverse. The Empress in reverse is like, yeah, it's talking about the self-worth. It's like talking about deserving more, right? And realizing that your Empress is not exactly cherished, but at the same time, once you realize that your Empress, like your queen, you know, and even like also if you're a guy, that your insight and your um your insightfulness, your intuition, the things you naturally bring to the table, the way you hold space for people, right? All those subtle but so important nurturing things are not valued. That's when you realize that, that's when you know you are the Empress. That's when you know you actually deserve it, right? So that's what it's talking about. It's like you know you deserve more than whatever it is that you're A, giving up, or B, is breaking away here, right? So that is a beautiful feeling. And if you're internally like, no, you just have to realize that, because you kind of already feel it. But since there's an Ace of Swords, you probably know that. You probably realize that, yeah, well, you know what, actually I deserve better. And in a cool sense, not that my ex left me and you know what, he didn't even deserve you. Not that kind of pity, overcompensating kind of energy. It's for you, it's more really realizing that there is much better to come on the horizon, and you're not petty by no means. I mean, like the Empress is in reverse, so it could be a little like diva-ish, but as a matter of fact, it's like there's an Ace of Swords and an Ace of Discs. It's like, you know, when you know, you know, you know. So let's see, in the spot of the 4th, that is your sense of security and your home, where you're coming from. In a sense, you're coming from disappointment. That's the 5 of Cups. There's also another 5, means change, right? So change in emotions, where you just like, you make up your mind, or no, your feelings have changed towards a situation that you used to call home, or towards a situation that you know from your upbringing, right? And it's very much talking about this 4 here, because in your manifestation you have a 4 of discs that is kind of put into question, and now in your spot of the 4 you have disappointment, which makes sense, right? Because that disappointment is driving you into making a change, and that change is you worrying a little if it's gonna work out like that, right? But you kind of know, because there's 2 aces and there's a news coming in, or an insight hitting you, where you're like, you know what, either way, it cannot stay this way, and I kind of know that there is more on the table. That disappointment is also like, it's just talking about your emotions shifting in a sense. So it's not exactly disappointment, it's more like there has to be more, you know, that kind of feeling. So let's see, in the spot of the 5, the thing that is causing conflict with your sense of home, in a sense, is the Prince of Swords. And the Prince of Swords in reverse, well, that is news that is to be talked about, or yeah, well, that Prince of Swords is in reverse, it means that speaking that truth of having to leave your castle is going to cause conflict, and that's why you're shying away from it a little, or it's tough for you to speak that, right? Internally, there has to be more, right? Because somehow that disappointment I always felt comfortable in, I now no longer feel comfortable in anymore, and I kind of know that there's more on the horizon. Now, how do I tell them? You know, that kind of that's the Prince of Swords in reverse in the spot of the conflict, where you're like, that knowledge and wisdom within you waking up is causing conflict within you, and now you have the conflict of having to address that and confront that. So that's why this is in the spot of the 5, which is okay. I mean, like, it is confronting. Change is always confrontation, either like for you and the people around, not either or. It's like for all that are involved. Change is always a challenge. But it seems like when you know, right? And that is amazing. So let's further see how you're coming into manifestation here. On the spot of the 7, that is your identity or your attachment. Well, you're attached to the idea of success, and that's also the idea that whatever you wholeheartedly were striving for in the past was a success. Not everything, probably, but you're kind of used to winning once you give it your all, and you know that you deserve that success, right? You had successes in the past, and you are very much attached to them, like, and also winning gives you a sense of self, a sense of identity, which makes sense, right? So six of discs here is you putting in a lot of work and getting little out of it, right? Or less than you deserve. And that kind of triggers that there's much more on the table. Like, this kind of tells the story of waving a generous offer that is not exactly all the way, which is like, yeah, it's a good offer, but there has to be more, right? There has to be, for example, the money is right, but actually you don't have that much decision power, which is not honoring your empress, that kind of deal, right? Or you're leaving a safe and stable job, or you're thinking about this just because you know that if you take the risk of having to worry about your reality shifting, if you take that risk, it's going to be a success, and you kind of need that success to feel good about yourself. Like, it's coming from all angles here, but this kind of tells the story of having to tell your boss and your significant other that you kind of want to quit because you kind of want to do something with more potential, or that you kind of don't feel good in that position anymore, and that something has to give. So it doesn't have to be quitting your job. It might be a level up. It might be time for a promotion, or time for a different team, when you realize, what, this is not giving me, like, I'm not living up to my full potential here. Something has to give. And talking about that disappointment from that situation is a little conflict, but it's gonna lead you to success, right? And you need that success because you're attached to it, and it's gonna make you even more successful, right? The 6 of this also talks a little about your motivation, especially in the spot of the 7. It's like, why are you giving? Are you giving because you think you have to, or because you think it's the right thing? So there's that 6 of discs right here makes so much sense on so many levels for you. You're so attached to the idea of being successful, which A, makes you successful, but B, also makes you driven. Now let's see what in the spot of the 8 is balancing that, because I get that for you. It's probably both up and downside. It's not just abundance, but an abundance of everything. There's a Knight of Cups. Ooh, ooh, a Knight of Cups in manifestation. That could be love coming in or coming out, right? Because a Knight of Cups can be a love offering. Um, well, it's not exactly a page. But it's a knight. It's a knight. It's very much progressive, right? Cardinal, confronting people with emotions. So it can be like admitting your love, for example, right? And like you needing a win and admitting your emotionality, right? And the Knight of Cups is talking about the disappointment, right? So the first step, like you see it that way. You're in a situation that feels a little too stable, but has feels stable, but has very little potential, in a sense, because a four is kind of, you know, saturated. It's like, okay, we have a good thing here. Why jeopardize that? So you are jeopardizing that because you're striving for success and you need that success, right? And with that Knight of Cups, that is having the impulse to make your feelings known. And now looking into the upper half and the challenge here, your feelings are that you deserve more and that you really have to talk about this. And seems like you're doing it, you're really doing it. And then Knight of Cups is like, this reading can work in so many ways. I mean, like for some of you, it's a relationship where you're like, you know what, we've been dating for so long, but actually we have to tell each other how profound this feels, because this half-assed thing is not really working. Because there is a Knight of Cups here, right? So either it's like, either you're in or you're out, you know, but I deserve more. I deserve to be an empress or an emperor, whatever, you know, but to be cherished like that. And for some, it's more in the job direction where, you know, I need that win. I need to be valued for what I bring to the table, because I'm six of cups, six of discing the shit out of this, you know, like I'm really pulling my weight here. I'm pulling others' weight too. So where's my raise, guys? You know, um, so that could be it. And it doesn't even have to be about a raise. Like I said, it can be just about responsibility and people acknowledging what you're doing, and like that can also be potential fulfilled. But it's all coming down to that 10 of cups in reverse, where you're like, you know, um, this is like, it's either not there or it's oversaturated, and you kind of feel already, you feel heavy already through having to eat up those emotions, that you actually want more. All right, now let's see, in the spot of the 6, that is the thing that gives you an insight about how to deal with the situation, or that situation that gives you an insight about how to deal with yourself in that situation. Let's see, there's the Sun. Wow, that is a major insight. That's a major insight, because like, you want that happiness and togetherness, especially here in the Thoth Tarot. There is that Gemini feature here. That's not just only the baby on the horse like it is in the Rider Waite. Here it's really talking about to angels or whatever, coming together, celebrating life. So it is talking about duality. It is talking about the whole of existence and enjoying life and all that stuff. So something is driving you here, making you strive for your spot in the sun. Um, and it doesn't feel, that is very beautiful, because it doesn't feel disappointing at all. It feels more empowering, right? So you suddenly feel empowered to go for that race, to go for that new opportunity, to tell them that you love them, right? To give them an ultimatum that they have to step up to the plate. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, You're getting the impulse to demand your worth, to demand what you're worth, and to demand that people value what you're bringing to the table, because there's so much more that is on the table up for grabs with those two aces up there. That is amazing. That is just amazing. So, like I said, there's nothing to worry about with this reading. The only thing you're worrying about is how they will take it, you stepping up like that, right? But your own energies are very, very empowered here, are very much up to the task. So the only worry I see here is that you're worried it's going to stay that way, right? And you're worried how they're going to react or whatever. But you don't have to be, because um, you really don't have to be, because you know there's two aces and an empress right here in your soul spot. It's like it's time for a change. You're right. You're definitely right, and you're pulling your weight. So this is a beautiful energy to be in, like really. And I'm very glad that it turned out like that, because that 5 of discs, like I said, it's nothing to worry about, really. As a matter of fact, it's a very good change on the horizon, and you're going to enjoy it very much once you made that step and made people known, like demanded, in a sense, in a calm and decisive manner, demanded your recognition for whatever it is that you're bringing to the table here. That is amazing. Scorpio, if that resonated with you, drop a comment, like and subscribe, because I demand my recognition. And check out daywalker-bali.com, and my Instagram and TikTok channel at the Spiritual Daywalker, and all that stuff. Oh, and Twitter is going to be fun next few months. All right. Thank you so much, and enjoy this energy. And good luck. They're going to take you well, I believe, because when you know, you know. Thank you. I love you.